Last year at Computex, I gave you a quick look at MSI's Project Zero, and it definitely stood out to me and most of you as the future of PC hardware. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the future is here. Now, for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, Project Zero was a concept MSI demoed at Computex that basically is a system designed full of parts that removes all visible cables from your PC, giving the PC a much cleaner look and feel. But the real question we should be asking here is it a gimmick or is it an actual advantage to this new and improved design? Well, most people speculated that there will be a reduction in the turbulence in the case and the air will flow more smoothly. In all honesty, doesn't really make a difference. This isn't an F1 car, guys. It's but only a PC case. A really nice looking PC case though. So, how does it work? MSI's new boards like the B650M Project Zero have been designed in such a way that takes all of the connectors that you'd usually find in the front of the board, like for example the 24-pin power cables, the RGB and the fan headers, and they stuck them all at the back of the board. The only problem with this is that most cases aren't designed for it. They don't have the right cutouts where the motherboard goes. Luckily, to solve this problem, MSI and a few other case manufacturers have come together and started working on designs that accommodates these new boards. Cases like this, the PANO M100R PZ. The case itself looks fantastic with mostly tempered glass design to show off the cool new motherboards and space for up to 10 fans to keep things running cool. As for radiator support, you're pretty limited. You can either run up to a 360mm radiator on top or a 120mm radiator at the back. While there is space for 320mm fans along the back of this case, there isn't enough room for a radiator. There is space for another 220mm fans on top of the PSU shroud, and lastly another 120mm fan or a 3.5-inch drive can be mounted at the bottom section right here. As for graphics card clearance, the PANO supports GPUs up to 390mm long and air coolers up to 175mm tall, although it does only support motherboards up to micro ATX in size. Now, speaking of motherboards, let's take a closer look at the B650M Project Zero that we've got right here. It's an LGA 1700 socket, meaning it supports 12th to 14th generation Intel chips. The board does run on DDR5 RAM and supports up to 256GB at speeds of up to 7,800 megatransfers. It also comes with a PCIe 5.0 slot and two Lightning Gen 4 NVMe slots capable of speeds of up to 64 gigabits per second. The rear I/O is pretty stocked up too, with tons of USB ports, HDMI 2.1, DisplayPort 1.4, Wi-Fi 6E and 7.1 channel audio support. Overall, it's a pretty well thought out board, but its real selling point is just how clean it makes your build look. I mean, honestly, just not having to look at the mustard and ketchup front audio connectors is completely worth it in my opinion. Speaking of front, well, side I/O, the case has a USB and C port of its own, one combination headphone jack, a button to control the included RGB hub, and a power button neatly built into the front foot of this case. I think this definitely could and should be the future of PCs. If you combine the back connector design and those cool magnetic fans, you can almost completely remove the worst part of building a PC, the cable management. I say almost because there is still one cable sticking out right there for the GPU. And while sure, getting rid of all of the cables would be nice, I understand why it's still there. The motherboard doesn't lock you into using any specific GPUs. ASUS. As another bonus, if you're using MSI's power supply, you also don't need one of those horrible NVIDIA adapters. Another nice thing is you don't need to worry about your GPU exploding because you didn't plug it in all the way. Because if you see yellow, it's not plugged in. It's a simple and effective solution. Overall, building in this case and on the motherboard isn't perfect though. It's a little bit awkward when you have to try and get the RAM in and you have to push down on the pins underneath the board. And for the motherboard itself, you'll basically have to get a brand new PC case or use a Dremel and try and make holes where needed, which I wouldn't recommend. However, you could technically do it. Overall, I think this PC case just looks fantastic and I hope it becomes the future of PC cases. However, there's a few small things that also bug me. The USB-C cable that you connect from the front I/O to the motherboard is a straight cable. So if you want to connect it, you have to practically bend it 90 degrees. It should just be a 90-degree bend cable. And I'd also like there to be more space for a radiator to be mounted on the side. The rest of this case is great and definitely a step in the right direction. Let me know what you think in the comments below. This was Stefan from Computex. See you in the next video. Cheers, bye. Oh, watch this video, why don't you? It's a cool video. I liked it. You'll like it. Cheers.